Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like I smack my eyes this way and this way. I got the googly eyes. Woo! Anyway, I can see you. Watch this. Woo! I can see you. Anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for coming to the show. We're going to be talking today about Windows 8 and Xbox 360. Why like podcasting? We're going to talk a whole bunch more. We're going to smack the geek out of a whole bunch of stuff. And of course, we're going to do it. But first of all, we're brought to you by our friends over at Wirecast. Go over to geekazine.com/Wirecast PC for the PC version or Wirecast Mac for the Mac version. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your Geek Smack for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sorry I had to adjust the volume. I just realized that was a little bit low, but now we've made it a little bit high so you can hear me and everything looks good. My name is Jeffrey Powers. If this is the first time that you've come to the show, thank you very much for showing up here. We're doing this late, and there's a reason why, and I'll talk about that in a second. First of all the little bits and pieces. Geekazine is the Twitter handle. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. And then, of course, 608-205-4378. Why you no call a hotline? We've got a great show for you. We've got a jam-packed show, cherry butter jam-packed show. Lots of cool stuff. We're going to be, we're talking about NBA. We're talking about Google updates, MacBook Retina Pro. But first of all, couple quick updates. I am doing this podcast really late. And the reason why is because I got sprung on me on Monday that our roof is getting redone. I live in a duplex with another family on the other side, and of course the landlord sent an email saying, "Hey, the roof needs to be done," and which it does. I mean, it probably wouldn't have survived the winter, so I'm good with that. But it does mean that I had to readjust my schedule because doing this in the afternoon with bang, bang, bang on the top of the roof. I mean, that would have been great for a B-52 song. Tin Roof Rusted just doesn't work for Geek Smack, I suppose. Anyway, so we're here at a late hour in the evening, and we're doing Geek Smack. So I might be a little bit more googlier than before. I love this. I found these were glasses I found at the dollar store, and they're plastic springs. I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, you could actually, if you had a 3D printer, you could probably make a pair of these. So anyway, I'm just gonna set these to the side. So if the first time you come to the show, thanks a lot for coming. We do this every single Tuesday for your Wednesday consumption, and we geek out on everything. We do a little tech smack, we do a little geek smack. So stick around about 35 minutes. We'll have you out the door and more information than you need to know. And today we're going to be talking about Windows and Xbox 360 and Windows 8 and Surface. And why no podcasting? It's my job. I don't know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's... oh, yeah, one more thing. Thanks for everybody that nominated for the podcast awards for Day in Tech History. Fingers are crossed. We'll see what happens if the nominations do count and Day in Tech History becomes one of the 5 nominated shows for the education area. But thank you to everybody that did that. I know that there was a bunch of you that did submit the nomination. So thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your tech smack for the day. All right, and today's tech smack, we'd like to thank our friends at GoToMeeting. They're back here supporting Geek Smack and all of Geekazine. And they posed a very interesting question to me. And they said, well, what do you believe you need to be successful in business? Well, I believe to be successful in business, I need to be able to meet with my team regularly. I need to meet with them wherever I am, wherever they are, at any time that needs to be. If the site goes down or if something happens, we need to discuss plans. We need to share videos and basically bring everything to head. We need to meet with our clients. We need to meet with our colleagues and figure out what they're doing and how they're going on the go. Now, meeting face-to-face is almost impossible. That's why I recommend GoToMeeting with HD Faces. Now, it's a powerfully simple way to collaborate and meet with your team online without having to be in the same city, without having to be in the same state or anything like that. GoToMeeting with HD Faces gives you the ability to share basically the same screen, making it easier for you to be on the same page. Whether you're on a Mac, whether you're on a PC, you can even join with an iPad and be part of the meeting wherever you are. You know, I've used it for over 4 years. We use it for roundtables. We use it for a whole bunch of other events. It never fails me. But don't take my word for it. Put it into your business toolbox. Try GoToMeeting for free for 30 days. Don't wait. Visit gotomeeting.com. You click that little try it free now button. That's that orange button on the page here. Let me show you here really quick. And then just basically enter in the code podcast. Whoops. Wrong button there. Enter in the code podcast. And of course, that will get you that great software. And that's over at gotomeeting.com. Remember the orange try free now button, enter in the code podcast. Oh, all right, let's get into your Text Mac for today. We're going to start with the NBA. You got a basketball? Anybody got a basketball? Basketball? Anything? Anyway. SAP is going to deliver a new statistical experience using what they're calling the SAP HANA service. And basically, so if you're an NBA fan, apparently they're going to revolutionize statistics or whatever. They're going to beef up the experience. So if you're a big basketball fan, this might be something of interest. If you want to check this out, this is over actually on SAP's website. I wanted to link to that first of all. Quick start there, so check it out over at sap.com, their press release for that. We are starting over at ReadWrite Web. You can now search in your email, your documents, and spreadsheet. You know that little box, the Google box? And then you start typing, and then all of a sudden things start showing up. Well, now if you type in that little box, it will actually find email. It'll actually find documents. You'll find a lot of different things in your main box. You can turn it off. So, but if you want, like for instance, if you're looking for an email address, instead of going to gmail.com and typing in the email address, now you can go to the little Google box and type in the Gmail address, and it goes from there. What I'm hoping for eventually is that they link, because I have like 4 or 5 email addresses linked to Geekazine, and I'd like it so I can just go into Geekazine and type in an email address. And it doesn't matter which email which email it's in, it's going to find it and say, hey, you have to go over to email address number 2 to do this email, because that's where that originates from. That would be cool. But right now, a little bit more convenient for you if you're looking for a document, if you're looking for an email, or if you're looking to search, you got that search box right there in Google. So pretty interesting. I don't know. A lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of good and a lot of bad comments on that. But tell me what you think. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com, or once again, the hotline is 608-205-4378. Let's move over to Wired.com. Apparently, the MacBook Pro has gotten the seal of approval for green, being one of the most green devices out there. The only problem is it's not a repairable, it's not an upgradable device. It is, if you try to open it up, it's apparently almost impossible. And there's a lot of people that are wondering why it's given a seal of green when it can't even be upgraded. So basically, if it breaks, it's done. They basically have to, I don't know if they have to give you a brand new MacBook Retina Pro or what they do, but if your hard drive crashes, you got to get a new system. If your monitor breaks, you have to get a new system. If your Thunderbolt ports die, you have to get a new system. At least that's what they keep saying there. So it's pretty interesting how they're doing. And EPEAT is the name of the company. That's the environmental rating system for devices like this. So I'm not exactly sure how Apple got past the greenness, because if I can't do basic repairs on my laptop, first of all, that's not good for me, because if I need to change out the hard drive on a whim, I need to do that. And if they're not letting me do that on a whim, I might be out of luck. If I use this for production, and if this hard drive dies, I have the backup hard drive ready to put in there to continue on. And if I can't do that, what am I going to do? A little bit nervous about that. I would really want to get one of the Retina Pro MacBooks, but if it's got that functionality where you can't even open it up, I don't know if I want it. I might have to switch back to it, maybe even a Mac Mini, just like I was originally thinking. So, anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to Wired.com. All right, the big news of the day, and then we're linking over at The Verge. Microsoft Surface has surfaced with their prices. $499 and $599 with the touch cover keyboard is the low end price. This is 32 gigabyte Surface. So Microsoft has officially dropped the gauntlet and said, hey, we are ready to actually up the memory inside of a tablet, and 32 gigabytes is going to be that. So we got the link over here at The Verge. A nice little picture. Of course, that's Microsoft's picture of the tablet and the cover. Now, what makes the cover $100? Makes the tablet $100 more with the cover? It has a Bluetooth keyboard and touchpad mouse that lets you work a little bit better. So if you don't want that, then you buy the $499 model, and then you get something like the Zag Bluetooth that I have for my iPad, which I'm assuming they'll have a version for the Surface when it comes out. You can purchase, you can make purchases now, but I don't believe they're coming out for a couple more weeks here. So you can check that out. Once again, it's $499 for the Surface, the 32 gigabyte model. It's $599 with the tablet, and then of course they'll have a 64 gigabyte model as well. So I'm really excited that that's coming out. This is the ARM-based processor. If you're looking for the i5 version, that's not going to come out for a couple more months. Those prices will be a lot more. We'll probably see $800 to $900 for the Surface i5 is my guess. So we'll see what happens. But if you want to check it out, go over. I'm out of frame. There we go. If you want to check it out, go over to TheVerge.com. I guess I didn't check out that frame there. Anyway, let's move over here. Foxconn over at CNET. Foxconn's admitted to child labor law breach. They have had kids working at Foxconn as young as 14 years of age, which I don't know in China what the age is to actually work, if it's 16 or it is legal working age is 16. So they have had 14 and 15-year-olds in the facility helping out and working, I guess, under the table employees. Foxconn just seems to be falling apart left and right, and we'll see where it goes from there. And it's amazing to see how everybody centered around this one company in China. Because I bet you can't really tell me many other companies that are in China right now, except for Foxconn. And the reason why Foxconn is such a hotbed, because they make Apple products. Simple as that. So anyway, if you want to read more about that, go over to cnet.com. Moving on from there, we're going over to a website, CIO.com, talking about Marissa Mayer, appointing a former Googler. Actually, he was working at Google, and she pried him out with a very big contract. His name is Henrique de Castro. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And he is going to become the COO, Chief Operating Officer of Yahoo. Now, his salary, and I don't know if the board is really on, the Yahoo board is really on board, but he's going to make a pretty penny. And let's see, I don't remember the price, but I know that's the big thing in today's news, was the fact that he's going to make a lot of money with this new position. And I guess if I was offered that much money, I probably would go to Yahoo as well. However, he's now got to perform. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Yahoo board is not happy with this change, with this. I don't know. Maybe they are. It's possible, but it's not in the right direction that Yahoo's trying to go, especially when they need to save money than spend on these people. This guy better know his stuff. That's all I'm saying there. So if you want to read more, go over to CIO.com and find out more. Moving from here, we're going over to the Consumerist.com. This is actually a pretty interesting article. If you believe that if you buy a digital copy from somewhere that you can watch it anywhere, anytime, you might be fooling yourself. And that's what this article is all about. What they're basically saying is that somebody bought, I don't remember the movie, it was, they bought a movie for $14.99, and basically, if it wasn't in a download, they couldn't use it on the streaming devices. They could download it somewhere and watch it and go from there. But if they couldn't stream it, they would get this box that says that you cannot add it here. You cannot watch it through this device. And this is not the first time that we've seen this. The many different devices that block streaming to a bigger TV or doing the stream on itself. Hulu is, of course, they have a lot of security rights on there. You can't watch The Simpsons on a Roku. You got to go to a PC and watch it on through a browser. So it's just a question of how you're going to be using it. Now, what really bothers me about this is the fact that they're not asking you how are you going to use this when you pay $14.99 for your digital copy. And I think they need to ask that. Do you want a streaming version or do you want a version that you download? So I don't know. It's not unexpected. I've seen this happen in the past. We're seeing it happen now. So I don't think it's going to change too much. But let me know what you think. Do you like or dislike this idea? Do you think that you're not going to actually buy a digital copy of a device if you can't stream it and download it? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, of course, Geekazine at gmail.com. All right, heading back over to the Voyage. I like saying it this way. The Voyage. We're at the Voyage. The FCC basically is going to allow encryption of basic cable. So what that means is if you're pirating cable and your cable company decides to all of a sudden encrypt all the basic cable, you can't watch, you won't be able to hook up a TV and watch the 72 channels or whatever you get on your basic cable lineup. So, and for me, I do have basic cable, and I have the box in the living room, and then I have the Hauppauge box that goes to this machine, and then I have an old CRT monitor that I hooked up because I'm down in the basement or I'm in the bedroom, want to watch a TV show. I can turn on the old CRT and watch it. But if with this new FCC allowance, I might get blocked from actually doing that. I might have to actually get a cable box. Now, like I said, it's not to really, I don't think it's really to deter you from actually having 3 or 4 TVs hooked up if you're a paying customer. But for somebody that's stealing the cable, that's going to make it a whole lot harder for them to steal the cable because they can't just hook it up and go. So if you want to read more on that, go over to theverge.com and get more information on that. All right, if you remember who Gary McKinnon is, then you'll want to check this next article out. It's over at the bbc.co.uk. Gary McKinnon, a few years ago, hacked into NASA because he's one card short of a full deck. I don't know. At least that's what a lot of people are saying, or have said in the past. But he hacked into government computers looking for UFOs. And, of course, this was back in 2002, and I talk about it a lot on the Day in Tech History. Once again, he's been blocked for extradition to the United States. He's staying in England. Theresa May has announced it. She's the U.S. Home Secretary. And so, Gary, this is going to be even more long and drawn out than before. So if you're following the Gary McKinnon case, then you might want to check this out over at bbc.co.uk. Moving on from there, we're going over to cnet.com. Verizon is drawing some fire for monitoring their app usage. Apparently, over there, they're monitoring what you've downloaded, what you browsed, and what you play, what apps you have on your device. And they're using it. I don't think they're selling it or anything like that, but they are basically on the border of actually breaking the wiretap laws. And so a lot of privacy watchdog groups, advocate groups, are really upset at Verizon right now. So if you want to check that out, go over to cnet.com and get more information there. All right, a couple more articles before we get over to your Geek Smack. Like I said, it's a lot of tech news. It just seemed to crop up today, and that's really good. But when you're trying to keep a show within 30 minutes, not so good. So anyway, let's move on here. Hey, if let's say you want to do some IT courses and you want to get more proficient in networking, and you don't have any previous knowledge of computer networking. Well, Stanford is offering some free online courses, and one of the free online courses is computer networking. If you go over to bcs.org, you can find where you have it. Of course, we'll have the link in the show notes over at geekazine.com. And you can find out how you can be auditing this class for computer networks. I don't think you can get any type of credit for it. It's part of their Class to Go initiative. And so if you want to find out how you can figure out what computer networking is all about and maybe get into the IT realm, check that out over at bcs.org. All right, finally, over at torrentfreak.com, you might have heard about this today. The DMCA notice that to the one internet service provider had shut down 1,450,000 education blogs. So basically what happened was the company, called, it was a publisher, Pearson, basically found a website that was copying its data and plagiarizing. And so they wanted to have the website took down. So they went to the ISP to take it down. And instead of the ISP taking one website down, it took down almost 1.5 million education blogs through another company, what is it called? The WPMU Dev and EduBlogs. They described it as the oldest and second largest WordPress multi-site setup on the web. But it's pretty interesting. This is why takedown, first of all, you shouldn't just send a takedown notice to the ISP. It should come to the person first, to the ISP next, and then it should go to court. And the ISP should be saying, no, we can't take this down. We're not going to take this down. Because then they make a mistake, and next thing you know, everybody's websites are down. And this is why I don't like third-party or second-rate domain website hosts, because they kind of have that itchy trigger finger. They don't want to. They see a lawyer sometimes, and not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, they see the lawyer notice and they go, well, we better take this down because we don't want to. We want to keep food coming on our table, and they make a mistake like this, and the next thing you know, they've got probably one of their largest clients that's down. So I'm guessing that this company is looking for a new host. So good luck on that. But I don't know. It's amazing. Anyway, enough about that. Tell me what you think. That's over at torrentfreak.com. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wow, the late hours really got to me a little bit. So let's get into your Geek Smack. We're going to do that in a second here. And then we're going to talk about Windows 8 and why they don't want podcasts on Windows 8 and Xbox 360. It's just crazy. So we'll be right back. All right. Hey, Zag is an amazing cases. Amazing invisible shields. I have it on my iPhone 5. I have it on my iPad. They have this thing right here. This is one of the most saving devices. It's the Zag Spark. You plug it into the wall, it charges up, and then when your smartphone or your tablet needs to be recharged and you're not near a plug outlet, plug it into here and it goes from there. They just dropped this in price from $99.99 to $79.99, which is great. But hey, there's a lot of great cases. There's a lot of great Bluetooth keyboards and other devices over at Zag. That's Z-A-G-G. And we've got, of course, if you go over to geekazine.com/Zag, you're, of course, supporting Geekazine. I thank you very much. And also checking out all the cool cases. And the Invisible Shield, which is that protective layer, that the film that they put on top of the glass of your iPad or iPhone or any smartphone or tablet to protect it from if you accidentally drop it. And I've dropped my iPad a couple times. I've dropped my iPhone once or twice too. So you want to be protected. And with the extreme cases, now they have break-proof protection to it. And you can check that out over there. Geekazine.com/Zag. When you check out 3 items or less, that's not a Folio keyboard or discounted item. I believe the Zag Spark still counts here because even though they brought it down in price, they didn't discount it. 20% off if you use that code Geekazine. Let me know if you get that Zag Spark at that price, and then we'll go from there. So that's over at geekazine.com/zag. All right, let's get back into your Geek Smack for this week. There is we're starting at the Legos, and we love the Legos. The Legos are probably one of my favorite things to take a look at, and this guy has just completely blown my mind with a Lego wheelchair. Yeah, he's basically made a wheelchair out of all Legos. And it doesn't look comfortable, I'll tell you that right now, but it's mobile. It gets you forward. It moves you around, and probably not at a very fast pace, but it's a great concept. And think of all the things that people can do now. They can actually take that chair and actually make it more comfortable, and then actually maybe make a prototype out of it. And next thing you know, we've got a new wheelchair out there. So, or helping chair like a little rascal or something like that. You know, Tom Cruise, inventor of the rascal. Not that Tom Cruise, the other Tom Cruise. So, anyway, if you want to read more about that, go over to geek.com. Moving from here, we're going over to jobs.aol.com. Apparently, they put out a list of 10 professions that drink the most coffee. And believe it or not, media people are on that list. And I believe they call podcasters and people like myself media people. So, number one, though, is food preparation and service workers. Drink the most coffee during their job. And then scientists hit number two, and then, of course, sales representatives, because they got to stay awake on those long drives, I suppose. And, of course, they have the full top 10 list. You can go over to jobs.aol.com to find out more. If you want to see it, go over to geekazine.com. We'll have the link in the show notes and go from there. Of course, we all heard about the Stratus jump, the basically falling, breaking the sound barrier and all that. But did you see the Lego version of it? Felix Baumgarten, he's the guy that actually did the jump. They recreated it, and it came out like within hours. I think the same day that he was doing the jump, they recreated it using Legos, and they dropped it. Of course, if you watch it, you realize, okay, maybe they're not really dropping all the time from space. There's a lot of good stable shots in there, but you know they get that the original capsule pretty high up into the air, and it's a great recreation using Legos. So I'm pretty it's pretty interesting. So you can check that out. It's over at news.yahoo.com. All right, if you've been following Geekazine, you know we have a sister website, and that sister website is called Dorkazine. And over on Dorkazine, we're showing the 10 most, or actually not the 10, but the most disgusting looking computer desktops out there. So basically, I'll show you here's the website here. And we've got this one, basically there's a whole bunch of Coke bottles here and food and stuff like that. Now, as an IT administrator, I have seen some dirty desktops. And there's one that just sits in my mind because the keyboard was so caked with food that I didn't want to touch it. And the guy needed things done right here, right now. So, but we had to go to the supervisor. We had to tell the supervisor, hey, this is not acceptable. This is not environmentally friendly. He needs to clean up his desktop. We need to replace. We actually took out the keyboard and put in a brand new keyboard. And he basically has rules where he can't eat at his desk. That was back then, 5-6 years ago or something like that. But, there are people out there that are just completely, I don't know if they're just enamored, they just keep working and they don't see the mess that they're making. And then they come up with these desktops. And there's some really, really disgusting desktops out there. And one of the I showed the keyboard. There was a picture of a keyboard that was just as disgusting as the one I saw about 5-6 years ago. So check it out over at dorkazine.com. All right, we're going to move from there over to epicmancave.net. I wish I could put on my echo there so you could see that. But here it is. It's an infographic. It's called The History of the Man Cave. And I guess when they first said, okay, this is what a man cave is, this is how it works. And then, of course, they go through many different man caves. The Bat Cave is considered a good man cave. I had my man cave. Of course, my whole house is my man cave. But that's me. That's when you live by yourself. So if you want to check it out, go over to epicmancave.com. If you don't have an epic man cave, maybe you have an epic Star Wars maze. And that's where over at inhabitat.com comes in. They have the maize, M-A-I-Z-E, which is a corn maze. It looks actually pretty healthy corn maze. This must have been earlier in the year taken or something. I don't know, because usually around September, October, it doesn't look so green. But apparently he made a Star Wars corn maze where you could travel around C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader, or the Death Star, and go from there. So if you want to check that out, that is over at inhabitat.com. Of course, once again, we have the link in the show notes. Going from there to deviant.com. Now, this is interesting, and the pictures don't do it justice. Here, let me show you the pictures. Of course, this is Doctor Who, and this is Tom Baker from Doctor Who. These are knitted dolls, and it's what's called amagurumi or amagurumi or something like that. And basically, it's kind of if you know how they paint little sayings on grains of rice. It's not that intricate. It's a little bit bigger than that, but they have these knitted dolls are probably about that big. So like I said, the picture doesn't do it justice because they have Tom Baker in the middle there, but these are pretty small dolls. And I guess it's not knitting, it's not crocheting, it's a process they go, and like I said, they call it amigurumi or jurumi, and of course I'm butchering that, and I apologize if that's what you do. If it is what you do, let me know. I want to know more about it. It's pretty interesting. They've got a whole section over here on DeviantArt. You can check it over there. But of course, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you can check out the Tom Baker Doctor Who doll right there. All right, moving over to Kickstarter. We love to show off some Kickstarters, and this one is pretty cool. It's called Romo, and it's a smartphone robot, and it's for everybody, as they say. And basically what it is, you hook up your phone to it, and you can control it as a device and move it around, and it can be part of, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. If you want it to move around for you, if you want it to say things or whatever, that it's all in development, so they could be working on new ideas and new stuff right there. It's the Kickstarter, and if you want to get yourself one of the Romos, I think the backing is $150, and you can get a Romo rebooted. So check that out over at Kickstarter. Once again, we'll have the link in the show notes. Pretty cool stuff. All right, from there, we're going back over to the bbc.co.uk. There's actually a couple science facts here. 2 planets that they've discovered. The first one actually has 4 suns. The Earth, or the planet, is twice the size of Earth, and it has 4. It's revolving basically around 4 suns. And it was made by volunteers using the planetthuritis.org. Did I pronounce that right? Thunters.org. And they've been surveying it on the Arxiv server, and it's about 5,000 light years away, and it's called PH1 after the Planet Hunters site. So pretty cool stuff. This planet is just amazing. There's actually another planet that they discovered that's about 3/4 diamond. And that's over on, I had it on Radio New Zealand, but it looks like they took down the page, so I'm going to have to take a look here. But apparently this planet, it revolves around the sun so fast, it's like 16 hours is one revolution around the sun. And it's made of 3/4 of diamond, and I don't know what other materials it's made out of, but if you want to check it, we'll have a link to you in the show notes to a working website and go from there. All right, that's the end of the Geek Smack. Woo, we had a lot of stuff there. We're going to get into your main subject. Why Windows 5 you don't do that? I don't know. We'll get that in a minute, and we will be right back. All right, you know that there's an audio version of Geek Smack, and of course you can get it on iTunes, but you can also get it on Stitcher Internet Radio, which is how I listen to all my podcasts, on Stitcher Internet Radio. Great app for the iPhone, for the Android, for the BlackBerry, for the Web OS. It is an amazing little app, and every day when I sit in the coffee shop, even when I start doing the show notes, I'm listening to some great podcasts to tell me what the news of the day is, so I can figure out what I'm going to talk about and give it to you. You can set up a favorites channel and you can listen podcast to podcast to podcast. So when Geek Smack is done, it goes right into the next podcast, Day in Tech History podcast. When the Day in Tech History podcast is done, it goes right into the iPad 365 audio version of the podcast, so on and so forth. It's an amazing little application, and it works on different platforms. So check it out. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek. Stitcher.com/geek. And you can enter in your email address, have a chance to win a $100 gift card from the folks over at Stitcher. So go over to Stitcher.com/geek. Good luck. They draw at the end of the month, so you're about halfway before you can do that. And I believe you can enter in every month. And then, of course, download the app and listen over on Stitcher. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Windows 8 is coming out. Windows X, the Xbox 360. Of course, they've made updates to that to match the new look of Windows 8. These tiles, so the surface looks like Windows 8. So Windows 8 looks like Xbox. So nobody gets confused in any way, shape, or form. And it's pretty cool. But I still continue to get confused from Microsoft. It's all about podcasting. It's all about my craft. And I have to ask you, Microsoft, is my craft not important? Is what I do not important to you? Is this show and other shows like mine small potatoes and videos because you're not making a dime or a dollar off of them? I don't get it. They just completely nixed out the Zune. There was an article that just came out that talked about Zune, and basically the Zune name is dead, and it's now Microsoft Music. But last week, Microsoft showed off Microsoft Windows 8 and the apps of the OS for that, and conspicuously missing was podcasts. They had a music section, but it didn't say anything about podcasts in there. And they showed some interface pages, and those interface pages showed you how you can get your country music and your rock music and your reggae music, but no podcasts. And which is really, really discerning. So what will happen? Will Windows 8, the mobile phone, not have a podcast area? Will Surface not have a podcast area? I hope not. That's another reason for me not to have a Windows 8 phone. It seems that each week I end up defending my job, my profession as a podcaster. Someone basically writes articles on a weekly basis asking if podcasts are dead or how they can be revived, and I'm replying and saying they're not dead, they're not dead, they're not dead. But maybe they are. Maybe people are just trying to kill it. All this backstabbing hurts. It's simple as that. It's very annoying because, I don't see podcasting as a dead technology. I see it as something that I can come into your living rooms, on your TVs, I can come into your iPods and your iPhones and your iPads and talk to you one-on-one, and you can reply back to me, and you can call my phone number and talk to me. You can Twitter me and talk to me, and we can have a good discussion. I don't know. The word podcast, though, in some weird way, is just a widespread word that means almost anything. I mean, this video version is a podcast. This audio version is a podcast. Maybe it's just the fact that they can't really put their finger on what a podcast is. So where do they put it? Do they put it in music? Do they put it in videos? Do they put it somewhere else? Is it just a completely different entity? Podcast also has a little bit of Apple in it. When people think podcasts, they think of Apple. So my question is, does Microsoft think of podcasts and go, this name just refers too much to Apple. We don't want that association? I don't know. There is, probably some lawyers sitting there going, we shouldn't call them podcasts because people think of Apple. And then next thing you know, they buy Apple. I don't know. Maybe that's the thinking right there. We need to take a stand, though. And we need to say podcasting is not an Apple product. We need to say that podcasting is something that that people do on a regular basis. And there's thousands of podcasters out there. There's thousands of podcasters that make money. There's thousands of podcasters that pour their hearts and souls into their shows like I do. They shouldn't be thrown to the wayside simply because of a name and an idea is not making somebody money. Because it can make them money. It's got to be making them money somehow. I don't know. It's too confusing. And it's way too late in the evening for me to think about it even more. So tell me what you think. Twitter me over at Geekazine. You can email me at geekazine@gmail.com. And of course, the hotline, 608-205-4378. All right, I'm going to go to bed. Actually, I'm going to upload this and then go to bed. Actually, no, I'm going to upload this, finish the post, go watch a movie, and then go to bed. Because, I'm a night owl that way. So, but anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for letting me ramble on into your ear, onto your TV for that long. And I'll try not to do that every single week. So, hey, like I said, you can Twitter me at Geekazine. Follow me at Geekazine. I'd appreciate it very much. We do have the survey going over geekazine.com/survey. Let me know a little bit about you and what you like, what you don't like about the show. And we'll go from there. In the meantime, you guys have a great one. Check out iPad 365. Check out Day in Tech History. And then, of course, everything else over at geekazine.com. You guys geek out, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Geek Smack, where we'll smack the geek out of you. Put my glasses back on. You guys take care. I can't see anymore. Where are we? There we are. Hi. Bye.